Em julho de 2009, 50 mil pessoas foram ao funeral de Michael Jackson, enquanto o mundo assistia entristecido. Não era só o fim de um artista lendário, mas também o fim de uma era. E com ela, acabava uma geração espelhada num homem, sua música e as excentricidades de um gênio criativo. Havia o circo da mídia e o da realidade. No auge da fama de Michael, o chimpanzé Bubbles era um de seus amigos mais próximos.
Bubbles became a human. He became one of us.
Bubbles usava roupas de grife, viajava na primeira classe e aparecia na TV.
You like heavy metal music?
Bubbles arrasava na mídia e até aprendeu a fazer o moonwalk.
Man with best friend as a monkey. So Michael would have thought, right, okay.
You want a weirdo? I'll give you weird. I can do weird. You want weird?
O que era estranho para a maioria era normal para o rei do pop. Michael buscava nos animais um amor incondicional.
These animals understand me, you don't. It was as simple as that. These are my friends, not you.
Mas nem Michael pôde mudar a natureza quando Bubbles cresceu. O que houve com o chimpanzé mais famoso do mundo? Você vai descobrir agora. A irmã mais velha de Michael, Latoya, está a caminho de um reencontro emocionante depois de 20 anos. Ela quer um desfecho após a morte do irmão.
I've said over and over to Michael before he passed, of course, I wonder what Bubbles is like now. I wonder what he's doing. Has he changed drastically, or is he the same? But I would love to see him and see.
A vida de Michael Jackson era incrível. O maior artista do mundo. O maior cantor de todos os tempos. Mas ser o rei do pop tem seu preço. Escrutínio, julgamento e até o ridículo. Os fãs o idolatravam. Mas Jackson estava isolado e solitário. Ele queria amor e carinho e encontrou isso em Bubbles.
He loved animals and he would speak to them and talk to them and as if they were his best friend.
Michael queria um animal que parecesse humano.
Michael would have become a surrogate mother to Bubbles. He would have been able to form a very meaningful, intense, physical relationship with Bubbles.
Por muito tempo, eles foram inseparáveis. Em público e na vida privada. Suas vidas pareciam iguais. Mas, inevitavelmente, Bubbles cresceu. A vida de Michael mudou. E a relação com Bubbles também. E o chimpanzé mais famoso do mundo foi sumindo da vida de Michael. O destino de Bubbles foi um mistério por 20 anos. Até agora.
You guys just don't know the love that we all had for Bubbles, and especially Michael.
Michael Jackson sempre amou os animais. Assim como toda a família Jackson. O quarto de Latoya ficava no fim do corredor da casa da família.
My father loved dogs. We had a dog named Frisky. We had so many pets growing up, dogs, and my father loved cats. And just so many different animals around the house. And it's so funny because he had this love for animals and my mother didn't care for it at all.
Joseph e Catherine Jackson tiveram 9 filhos. Joseph via o talento dos filhos e os ensaiava sem parar.
His father said to him, "Don't call me daddy, don't call me dad. It's Joseph to you." And so any child, I think, who has that kind of a strained relationship with their father has to relate to their father more like a manager or business manager than as a parent, I think would have difficulties growing up and sort of understanding what love was and being able to navigate relationships when there was so much torment in some of his personal relationships.
I decided to deal with the boys as much as I possibly can as far as rehearsing them, getting them prepared to be in show business.
Did they resent it?
Yes.
They did?
Yes.
My father started rehearsing every day after school. Other kids would be outside playing, and they would tease us, oh, you're doing this, you're not going to get nowhere, you're not going to... But we just rehearsed every day.
The type of love that came from his father was a very dominating one, and at times cruel.
He practiced us with a belt in his hand. And if you didn't do it the right way, he would tear you up, really get you. I don't think he realizes to this day how scared, I mean scared, so scared that I would regurgitate.
When someone has been hurt by human beings to such a degree that they are so scarred that they have a difficult time forming relationships with others, or even wanting to attempt forming new relationships for fear of being harmed, animals are really a nice alternative.
When a child wants a pet, it's because they want someone to love. And they want to feel the love being reciprocated. They want to be loved in return.
Quando Michael tinha 12 anos, o Jackson 5 estava no auge. Os 4 singles lançados estavam no topo das paradas. A família se mudou para a Califórnia para um condomínio em Havenhurst, Los Angeles. Michael Jackson morou lá por 18 anos, cercando-se de bichos de estimação.
He had hamsters, and he had rats, and he had lizards, and everything you could think of. He had it. He had quite a few rats. I think his first one, I recall it being a little white mouse that he had.
Michael amava seus ratos e adorava assustar os irmãos.
He would pull it out of his pocket, and I would scream every single time. It's like, oh, what are you doing with that in the restaurant?
O Jackson 5 ensaiava 15 horas por dia e fazia shows à noite. Nas poucas horas livres, Michael Jackson ficava com seus bichinhos.
I think it was sort of a diversion from music, because the music was always there. And aside from the music, when you're not being musical most of the day, then you can turn to your animals and play outside of your family. It's something else.
Em 1972, aos 14 anos, Michael lançou a música Ben, sobre um garoto e seu ratinho. Ben seria o primeiro de 13 sucessos solo de Michael Jackson a chegar ao primeiro lugar. Michael Jackson chegou a ter 13 ratos morando no seu quarto.
He had such a connection with his little rats that I wasn't a big fan of. Not the rats, no.
Em breve, ele teria os animais mais incríveis de Hollywood.
Michael had boa constrictors and pythons, and we connected with them. We had a love for them, and my mother would say, you know, you can't be that friendly with them because you never know what the animals are going to do, which in fact she was right, because sometimes the snakes, you know, if we leave them out too long, a parrot's missing.
Because he was an extreme character, I think he would have identified with extreme species and exotic animals. I think he would have perhaps seen himself as exotic and extreme in some way.
Aos 21 anos, a carreira solo de Michael decolou e seu primeiro disco, Off the Wall, tornou-se um dos álbuns mais vendidos no mundo. Os fãs estavam em todos os lugares.
Today, the Jacksons travel first class. Fame makes them vulnerable. On the road, theirs is a life of back doors and security guards, quick entries and exits.
Ironicamente, na época, Jackson dizia ser extremamente solitário.
I'm most comfortable on stage than any place in the world. Being around, you know, everyday people and stuff, I feel strange. I do.
Shy?
Yeah.
Michael's quiet now. When he was younger, he wasn't that quiet. But I don't know, I think the stage might have done that to him. because wherever he go, everybody's coming out to see Michael Jackson, you know, want to look at him and see what he looks like. And he said he feels like an animal in a cage.
He became extremely huge, which really made it extremely difficult for him. He couldn't drive out the driveway where there were just tons of people, no matter what time of day it was. They didn't understand how difficult it was for him to go anywhere, just to look at anything. He would have to call ahead of time sometimes and have them close the stores down so he can go and shop and see what's new and what's going on. It was a very secluded, quiet, sad life.
Aprisionado pela fama, Michael não encontrava amigos confiáveis.
When you become that huge, that big, everybody is like a yes person for you. And everybody's there, and everybody wants to be a part of you, and everybody wants to know you, and everybody wants to be your friend. You begin to think, well, who is my friend? Are you here because I'm this big? Or are you here because you like my personality, me for what I am? So you kind of wonder, and you turn more so to animals even more because they don't know that. They love you for who you are. They're not asking for anything, just love, just simple love.
Ratos, cobras e pássaros não bastavam. Jackson queria um bicho que faria o mundo questionar sua sanidade. Em 1982, a vida de Michael e o mundo pop mudaram para sempre. Seu disco Thriller ficou no topo das paradas por impressionantes 37 semanas. Mas Jackson ainda era um garoto perdido, desesperado por companhia. E ele queria um animal que pudesse chamar de amigo.
My mother made a vow with all of us. She says you can have whatever animal you want, but you can never have a monkey.
Jackson conseguia o que queria. Aos poucos, ele convenceu a mãe.
Mike was very clever. We would have family day all the time. And so what he decided to do on family day is says, okay, I'm going to turn family day into an animal day and bring these chimps and let them do little tricks for us and make sure that they're dressed really cute and clothes and the whole bit. And my mother was like, okay, what's going on here? And she's looking, she goes, Michael goes, aren't they cute, Mother? Yes, they are, but you're not getting one.
Dizem que Bubbles nasceu num laboratório e foi vendido para Jackson.
Finally, it happened. A little chimp came, a little baby, so cute, so adorable. And he begged my mother if he could have it, and begged her. And she says, I said no. And he says, please. And she finally gave in and says, okay.
Having a relationship with a great ape would be unique from any other species of animal. They're so like us. So, you know, they have hands, they can hold on to you, they can kiss you. They are almost human. So having a relationship with a chimp would have been his most special relationship with any animal.
Bubbles tornou-se parte da família Jackson. Era até chamado de filho do Michael.
Michael would dress him in Oshkosh Bagosh and all the different little designer clothes and things of that nature. He had his own nanny, and he was just the sweetest, politest thing that you could possibly ever imagine. Bubbles became a human. He became one of us.
Agora que Bubbles era Jackson, tinha que agir como eles.
All the cooks in the house love Bubbles. Bubbles, you can stir the food. Mother goes, don't you dare let him do this. I don't want him preparing food for me. Bubbles ate at the family table, and he ate just like we did with a knife and fork. He has to have Tabasco in his food, and then he starts to eat it. And it was the cutest thing. He knew what he wanted. He would open up the refrigerator and the freezer, go and get the Haagen-Dazs, get a spoon, sit down, and start eating Haagen-Dazs. It was always the cutest thing. And when he's done, he just gets up and walks away.
Jackson e Bubbles eram inseparáveis. Onde Jackson estivesse, lá estava Bubbles. O dia todo.
When it was bedtime, Michael would say, Bubbles, go put on your pajamas and go to bed. And Bubbles would go in the drawer, take his pajamas out, put them on, and then he would say your prayers. And he would get on his knees and say his prayer. And he would say, now get in the bed and go to bed. And then he'd jump in the bed, put the covers over him, and go to sleep.
An infant chimp would sleep in the mother's nest with the mother. Well, your bed is your nest when you're human. So Michael was intuitively doing what was right for Bubbles. Michael would have become a surrogate mother. He would have been getting a lot of love in return, and here was a creature who craved love and affection. He would have been able to form a very meaningful, intense, physical relationship with Bubbles.
One morning, Michael called me. He goes, "You gotta see this, you gotta see this. He mimics everything I do." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Watch." So Michael's in the room and he's brushing his teeth, and Bubbles looks up and he gets a toothbrush and he starts brushing his teeth. And this is the cutest part. Michael starts combing his hair, then Bubbles combs his hair, but he combs his arm. He's just combing his arm. I go, "Michael, that's not even his head." He's combing his arm. He realized that's hair there too.
Como muitos donos de animais, Jackson queria se comunicar com seu amigo. Ele estava determinado a encontrar uma forma. Mas, como sempre, Jackson foi radical. Ele estudou a anatomia humana e a dos chimpanzés.
He had a real brain come to the house and he had in a jar. "It's a real human brain. Where'd you get that from? Who gave you?" He goes, "Shh, don't tell mother."
Era parte de seu plano para tornar Bubbles mais humano.
Michael always wanted to know, how can I make him speak and talk? And he wanted to find out. He wanted to give it vocal cords. He asked doctors, "Can I give it an operation? Can I give him vocal cords? Because I want to know what his thoughts are, what he's really saying."
Their larynx isn't positioned in the right place for speech. It's too high up in the throat.
Mesmo que Bubbles não pudesse falar, ele aparecia em programas de auditório.
I met you about 2 years ago, Bubbles, and you've had a lot of publicity in the meantime. You're still the same sweet old chimp that you always were? Got the same person? Don't do that.
Bubbles se tornou um ícone pop, como Michael. Com isso, ele estava à mercê da mídia. A fama o isolou cada vez mais e ele se identificou com quem vivia a mesma situação. Oliver era um dos musicais favoritos de Jackson. Ele se identificava com a história do garoto, vivido pelo ator britânico Mark Lester.
Michael had a lot of friends, but few very close friends. So I was very honored to be one of Michael's close friends.
As famílias estavam sempre juntas, e Lester se tornou padrinho dos 3 filhos de Jackson. Como seu aliado, Mark conhecia bem o verdadeiro Michael Jackson.
Well, Michael always told me that he was an illusionist. You know, he created this aura about himself. It was a smokescreen effect.
Em 1986, os jornais disseram que Jackson dormia numa câmara hiperbárica para retardar o envelhecimento. Diziam que ele queria comprar os ossos do homem-elefante. Jackson não desmentiu nenhuma história.
Michael was very clever because his private life was not penetrated by the press, so he could serve up any illusion he liked, and the press went along with it, so he was quite happy with that.
Seria Bubbles outra ilusão de Michael?
This happened to be a pet monkey, but for Michael it would have been part of the illusion because the press would have picked up on it, you know, man with best friend as a monkey, you know, and writing about it. So Michael would have thought, right, okay, dress him up, put him into a suit, and we'll continue with the illusion of that. So Michael would have played on that.
Certainly it was different, and certainly it was eccentric, and to some people it might have been extreme. He really did enjoy the relationships that he had with his animals and found that fun and pleasure and security and safety. At the same time, though, knowing perhaps with a wink of his eye that it was going to draw some attention to himself in an unusual way.
Seja qual for a verdade, muitos viam Bubbles como a última gota d'água na fuga da realidade de Michael. Isso contribuiu para o apelido Jack o Doido, que ele desprezava.
Wacko Jacko, where'd that come from? Some English tabloid. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice. Don't do it. I'm not a wacko.
I think the British press and tabloids were very, very cruel. And they are to everybody. And in a way, some of maybe Michael's antics were taken in the wrong way by some of the tabloids.
You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson.
His feelings may have been so hurt that he may have thought to himself, you want bad? I'll be bad. I'll be bad for you if you want. I'll be a weirdo. You want weird? You know, so that may have happened. And then, of course, the press just fed off it all the more.
Did it do him any harm? Still sold the most records of any pop star ever. So Michael always said, you know, the worst kind of publicity is no publicity. His name, his face was always in the papers.
Mas Michael quase não precisava de publicidade. Ele se retraiu ainda mais.
I don't think he knew what the consequences would be. And perhaps Michael Jackson's gamesmanship and some of the way that he liked to play with others and maybe even play with the media brought him more trouble than he realized it would bring.
Em 1987, ele compôs Leave Me Alone. O clipe mostrava sua cobra, Muscles, e Bubbles. Era impossível não entender a mensagem.
Leave me alone. These animals understand me. You don't. It was as simple as that. These are my friends, not you.
Não era novidade ver Jackson pedindo sossego, mas no auge da carreira, ele alardeava sua estranha amizade com um chimpanzé. Bubbles sempre estava com Jackson, até mesmo nas turnês.
Bubbles traveled private a lot. He wanted him to fly, so he put him on a plane, first class ticket. Yes, absolutely. Wherever he could take him and get away with it, he would. Wherever he was accepted, then Bubbles was there.
Em 1987, a turnê Bad foi um fenômeno global. Bubbles estava sempre por perto, com um treinador de Hollywood, Bob Dunn.
He's traveled all over the world. Do you have any difficulty getting him in and out of countries?
We have to pull a lot of permits, but we do it. He loves traveling.
Havia muitos desafios, como as leis de quarentena. Mas no Japão foi diferente. Aquela cultura queria Bubbles.
Monkeys and apes have a very high status. Japanese culture is all about the wisdom of the ape and the monkey. They would have wanted to see him with Bubbles. Bubbles would have had fans in Japan.
Era ótima publicidade, mas Jackson tinha mais motivos.
Taking his animals with him was a way of him to have a sense of safety with him when he was in perhaps environments that caused some sort of anxiety. I had the opportunity in the late 1980s when I attended a Michael Jackson concert to be seated near Bubbles, and he seemed to actually be watching and enjoying the concert. Perhaps he was able to interact in society in ways that humans would interact in society and yet still be a chimpanzee.
Bubbles ficou ainda mais esperto. Como uma criança, ele aprendia rápido. E o mestre provou que até um chimpanzé poderia dançar.
Now, there is a celebrity sitting in our audience.
Quando Bubbles fez o moonwalk, ele arrasou.
Let me see you do your stuff, Bubbles.
Moonwalk.
All right. You're a good old guy. Thank you, Bob, very much. Thank you, Bubbles.
Mas a fama tinha seu preço. Se os paparazzi incomodavam os humanos, imagine um chimpanzé.
I have seen him get scared. We got, let's say, mauled or trampled at one location, and they just stormed so bad and crowded us so much that Michael and his entourage got separated, and Bubbles and I got separated with our security guys, and we got pushed into a corner into an elevator. I could feel him clinging to me, and he started to bark. He was a little scared.
A turnê Bad durou 16 meses. Os 123 shows atraíram 4.400.000 pessoas. Era o auge da amizade deles, mas não havia como evitar. Bubbles ficava mais velho e seu comportamento piorava.
Bubbles, at one point, became extremely strong, so he wasn't this little baby that would slap you and can get away with it. They were powerful slaps. They could knock you out. Sometimes he would slap and everything would fly off the table. Yes, and then he'd grab the chandelier and jump and swing on it, and then jump on the next table. He goes, Bubbles, no, no, no.
Com 4 anos, quase um adulto, Bubbles cometia o imperdoável pecado de crescer.
Bubbles, sit still.
Era difícil para os treinadores.
Now he's pouting, just like a kid. Huh.
It was all okay when the chimp was little. They're very malleable, they're very sweet little chimps.
Mas eles não são filhotes para sempre.
Watch them grow up. That's the hardest part. When they grow up and they become an adult and they're very strong, 170 pounds, 3 times the strength of their weight, it's very hard to have to retire them because you get so attached to them. It's like telling your kid to go away.
They become very strong. It sort of almost happens overnight, and suddenly they pack on all this extra muscle, and they get a real attitude, and they're going to compete with you, and they become very hierarchical suddenly.
The trainers came to the house and saw what we had, and they were highly disturbed with Bubbles, the way we treated him. They felt that this was not normal. You don't treat a chimpanzee this way. This is unheard of. They're not humans. He shouldn't be in the house.
You know, you can't have an adult chimp free to roam, not in a suburban environment, not in a family home. You just can't. Free to roam in the wild in Africa, yes. But in America, no, no, no.
So they get this huge cage and they put him in. And we're all so sad when everybody's visiting him every second. We're like, hi, Bubbles, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's crying because he doesn't want to be there.
Deve ter sido traumático para Bubbles ser levado para longe de sua família.
It was like a culture shock to him and to us, to everybody, because how could you do this? He wasn't used to this treatment. We cried, we all cried, even Mother kept crying, and what can we do? We didn't know what to do at that point. There was no way we were gonna so we fired him. We fired him.
Mas a família Jackson teve que aceitar.
They wanted Bubbles to be part of the family, and that's completely understandable. But I suppose the trainer knew what was coming, knew that a cage in the end would be Bubbles' final destiny.
Apesar de ser o artista mais famoso do mundo e multimilionário, Michael tinha 30 anos e ainda morava com os pais.
It was difficult for Michael to leave home. I think it's because my parents, they instilled in us always that you're not supposed to leave unless you have marriage in mind. It's like, but no.
E a coleção de animais dele havia crescido demais.
There were so many animals at Havenhurst, the space wasn't there, so he needed more space.
Em 1988, com seus animais, Jackson se mudou para um rancho de 1.000 hectares, que chamou de Neverland. Futuramente, o que acontecia lá iria originar especulação e acusações, mas tudo começou como refúgio de uma criança que não queria crescer.
All of a sudden, there are these gates in front of you, huge, massive, 30-foot high, 50-foot across gates with Neverland written across the top in gold letters.
Passando os portões, tudo era ainda mais incrível.
I can't go in the park, so I create my own park at Neverland, my own water space, my movie theater, my theme park. That's all for me to enjoy. The star needs some space. Give him a chance to relax. He has a heart. He's human.
Neverland was the perfect spot for him, and he could have all the animals that he wanted, as many as he wanted.
As private zoos go, it's superb. He had tigers there, he had leopards, he had alligators, he had giraffe, and an elephant that used to be walked every day from the zoo to the house. And so you could look out the window and see the elephant going by at about 11 o'clock.
Jackson parecia ter tudo: fama, fortuna e fantasia. Mas lhe faltava felicidade.
Can't go to the store. I have to hide in a room. You feel like you're in prison.
He was always living out of suitcases. In his bedroom in Neverland, the case would be open and Michael would wake up one morning and say, right, I feel like going to South Africa. And they'd just book a plane and they would go.
Como acontece com todo compositor, as músicas de Jackson evoluíram. Apesar de muito pessoais, os temas eram mais universais.
He wanted us to care about each other, and he wanted us to care about the world, and he wanted us to bring positive change to the world.
Em 1991, suas letras falavam menos de relacionamentos e mais de política.
It is our power to change the world that our children live in.
Jackson buscava inspiração. Ele procurou a renomada primatóloga Jane Goodall.
He would have identified with her affinity with chimps. He would have felt that his feelings towards the chimpanzee species and Bubbles as an individual chimp were similar to perhaps Jane's relationship to David Greybeard, for example, who she had a very close relationship with.
Goodall era contra domesticar chimpanzés, mas foi a Neverland se encontrar com
He
Michael.
loved what I did. He loves chimpanzees. He loved to watch them feeding. He liked their faces. They made him smile. And so I thought, well, you know, if Michael could get a message out to millions of people who would listen, it would be fantastic. And he wrote what he told me he thought was his most powerful song ever.
A música era Heal the World, que arrecadou milhões de dólares para instituições de caridade para o meio ambiente e crianças. Aos 38 anos, finalmente Jackson virou adulto, com o nascimento do filho Prince Michael.
Now he had something, you know, that was not a monkey, a real human and a baby, and it was his. His life was then complete.
Bubbles se tornou perigoso para Prince Michael. As visitas acabaram e ele foi embora de Neverland.
When a chimpanzee becomes an adult at about age 8 to 10, you know, they suddenly become really quite different. They're really strong now. You know, they could, you know, kill you.
No fim dos anos 1990, Jackson era poderoso, rico e famoso. Ele tinha 2 filhos com a segunda esposa, Debbie Rowe. Em 2003, nasceu seu terceiro filho, Blanket. Ele tinha um amor humano que tanto queria.
Obviously, when the children came along, then you know, Michael dedicated his time towards the children rather than to chimpanzees or llamas or boa constrictors or whatever.
Bubbles ficou de lado, morando com Bob Dunn. Mas as instalações de Dunn ficaram pequenas para ele. A vida de Jackson também não estava boa. No novo milênio, sua vida saiu de controle. O disco Invincible vendeu pouco, e suas excentricidades, a imagem bizarra e a distância da realidade eram inegáveis.
Michael was a very loving and open person, and unfortunately that left him vulnerable for people to see that as a weakness and to exploit that.
2004 foi o pior ano para Jackson, e ele vendeu Neverland para pagar dívidas.
The ranch that epitomized Jackson's juvenile extravagance is now a shadow of its former glory. Michael Jackson built all this to try and escape from reality, but in the end he simply couldn't afford to live in a fantasy.
Quando Bob Dunn se aposentou, Bubbles teve sorte. Ele foi para um lar de chimpanzés famosos. Lembrado pelos fãs como um chimpanzé fofo, ele sumiu da vida pública. Até agora. Esse é Bubbles hoje, aos 26 anos. Ele pesa cerca de 90 quilos. Pat Reagan fundou o centro em 1998 para macacos que não puderam crescer normalmente.
We try to put them together so that they can have a social life, they can build their own families here. So, Bubbles is part of a family.
Bubbles agora vive como um chimpanzé normal. Jackson pretendia vê-lo em 2005, mas cancelou a visita e não pôde mais ir.
These will be my final show performances. This will be it. And when I say this is it really means this is it.
My brother, the legendary king of pop, Michael Jackson, passed away on Thursday, June 25th, 2009 at 2:26 p.m.
De repente, Bubbles ficou em evidência de novo.
One of the questions that came a lot to me was, have you told Bubbles? How did Bubbles react? Is Bubbles sad? Well, Bubbles has not really seen Michael for 5 to 7 or 8 years, and so he's not been part of his daily activity. I think that if he had been there and been around him, he would definitely realize the loss. We had over 100 contacts from around the world for film crews that wanted to come in and film Bubbles, take photos of him. We turned everybody down.
Com Bubbles sendo perseguido pela mídia, Patty queria mostrar que ele sobreviveu ao showbiz, ao contrário de Michael. Mas ela toma cuidado para não incomodar Bubbles.
We have not shown Bubbles specifically any photos of Michael Jackson or videos. We don't know how he'll react to it. What if it did bring back memories and it made him feel badly?
He attached to Michael. Michael was his mother figure. So to see pictures of Michael, to see video, to watch video of Michael would remind him of his earlier years. It could well disturb him.
Durante a nossa filmagem, LaToya pediu para visitá-lo. Patty concordou.
I often think about Bubbles, and I think it would be my dream to see him and wonder if he would recognize me or even know me and just see how big he's gotten or what he's doing, what his personality is like, the difference in what it was then and now.
I don't know how Bubbles is going to react to seeing LaToya. He hasn't seen her for 20 years, is what I've been told. But I think that if he does recognize her, he may not show the reaction. He may just walk away. He may display like he does with other visitors.
Ele se mostra de modo único. LaToya está indo visitar Bubbles. Faz 10 meses que Michael morreu e a visita pode trazer conforto nesse momento.
I mean, I am a bit nervous about it, but I can't wait to take pictures with him.
Após viajar 4.800 quilômetros, LaToya e sua equipe chegam ao centro.
Hello, how are you? I'm Patty.
You must be Patty. How are you?
Antes do reencontro, Patty mostra o local.
We have large arches that get them up into the tree.
That's really nice. I love the way you have this done for them to play and move around and go into the trees and do whatever they like.
All right.
Look at him. It's amazing how they look at you, their eyes, as if they know what you're thinking.
This fellow is Grub. He is the original chimpanzee at the sanctuary. Now, Grub does something that is pretty unique. And what he's doing right now is making a mask for you.
Oh, look at him.
And sometimes he makes them out of cardboard if he has treat boxes in there. And he'll even find a little leaf if he has no paper. He'll get a leaf and make tiny little holes and hand them
to... Grab, are you dad?
How are you
when
gonna
he's
get
done,
that
he
through?
puts it right through.
Yeah.
I love that. What did you make for me?
Hey, Grab, that's interesting.
I like my mask. You're a good boy for making me that. Are you a good, there you go. Yes, there you go. Grab's a good one.
Antes de ver Bubbles, LaToya é avisada de que o encontro pode não ser afetuoso como ela espera.
Bubbles has a unique feature. He will get a mouthful of water sometimes, and he'll spit it at people that are new, that are visiting. Yes, so you might get a little shower from Bubbles.
Well, where did he adopt that from? Because he didn't do that before.
Well, he was a baby then, and I think it is one way he can get a reaction, and that's the most interesting thing, because generally people will yell and jump back or laugh, and of course that just seals the deal. Sometimes he's a gentleman, but I just want to prepare you. If he does that, the best thing to do is just kind of turn away and not try not to yell out of it. Don't make a big deal of it.
Okay.
And you'll step
Is it very forceful?
No, it's just
a little bit. Yeah.
Just a
okay,
little
good.
bit. So
I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to see him.
LaToya Jackson não vê Bubbles há 20 anos.
This is Striker.
Hi, Striker. Bubbles used to have that energy.
Well, he's 5 years old.
He's
so
5?
So he's about the same age probably.
Yes, when I saw
the
him
last time you saw
yes,
Bubbles.
and that's the size.
And here is Bubbles.
Oh my.
And I think we'll.
Hi, Bubbles. What are you hiding in your mouth? Hi, Bubbles. Hi. Oh.
So,
oh, look at. Is
you want to
something
come
there?
a little bit? Yeah, you can come closer.
Is something in its mouth?
Let's see. Have you got some water? How you doing, sweetie? What's in your mouth? You swallow that?
Oh, look at. He looks
swallow it?
incredible.
Isn't he beautiful?
He looks incredible. Bubbles, hi. Do you remember me? Bubbles? Hi, Bubbles. Look at him.
Isn't he a cutie?
Bubbles. Bubbles.
Look who's
Bubbles,
here.
hi.
Here.
I want to touch him.
He might be spitting. I think he is going to spit. It's all right.
He's getting ready to do it, yes?
Can you show me what's in your mouth?
Bubbles, what's in your mouth?
You want some
Bubbles,
grapes?
open your
You want
mouth.
some more grapes? Open your mouth. and
He
show
wants
me.
to put water on me. Okay, I think he swallowed it.
Yes, I think he did too. Open. One thing that Bubbles really likes to do is play in the hose. Do you want a drink? He likes the water.
He likes, can I put it on him?
Yes, you can.
Here? Here? Some water?
LaToya,
Yes, Bubbles.
did he play in the hose and in bathtubs and water?
Yes, he did.
He did?
Yes. It's very interesting because when I look at Bubbles, I still see the features of when he was extremely young. And that looks the same to me. And I see the gray around his mouth.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I think he kind of remembers me, guys. I think he's being shy with it.
Oh, I think he definitely remembers you, LaToya.
Yes. See, he didn't spit on me.
He didn't spit on you, yes. Thanks. It was very nice for having you visit
thank
us,
you.
and I've been very interested to see how Bubbles reacted, and I think he definitely recognized you, definitely remembered you.
Oh, he's so adorable. But if you don't mind, I just want to say a couple of words to Bubbles alone.
That's great.
Okay.
You can go
It's
around
okay,
there.
yeah?
Just, stay back.
Okay, Bubbles.
Okay.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bubbles? Bubbles? Yes. Hi, Bubbles. Hi. Hi, Bubbles. You know I miss you. I haven't seen you in ages, Bubbles. Do you remember me? Bubbles? Do you remember me, Bubbles? You're looking like you do. Do you, Bubbles? Oh, I want to kiss you. I want to hug you, and I know I can't because you're so big. I know. I think you remember me, don't you? Yes, you do. Bubbles. Bubbles. I know. You know, don't you, Bubbles? Bye-bye, Bubbles. Bye-bye.
Com como já se separaram antes, a despedida de LaToya e Bubbles é melancólica.
I'm sure that Michael loved him very much, and I think he took very good care of him. There's no doubt that chimps feel the loss of a companion, and so the focus is on making sure Bubbles can live 30 or 40 more years, and it's making sure that he has a peaceful life. This is what our focus is on here, not about his past, but about his future. Right, Bubbles? You want this back? That's for you. Yep.
Há 20 anos, era aceitável ter um chimpanzé. Mas agora, entendemos que eles pertencem à natureza. E no rosto calmo deste chimpanzé adulto, é fácil nos lembrarmos do que se passou e pensarmos como as coisas poderiam ter sido.
Michael was unique. Michael was irreplaceable. There will only ever have been one Michael Jackson.